What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crypto Coffee channel. It's Matt, your host as usual, and it's been crazy lately, guys. Life has been a little crazy, but I am here to be the voice of reason that we need right now, hopefully, and just answer any questions you might have about what's going on with the PulseX Sacrifice phase, what's going on with the HEX price, when in God's good earth is PulseChain going to launch, and just all the other questions you guys probably have. So yeah, I really just want to crowdsource the info, like what's on everybody's mind right now and what do you guys want to hear more about. I enjoy making content, but I want to speak to what the people actually want to hear. So and trust me, guys, if you're thinking it, you think you have a stupid question, it might be stupid. I'll tell you if it's stupid, but it's probably going to be a question that a lot of people have that they're just too afraid to ask. Right. And really the only stupid questions that I'm definitely not going to answer is, what should I do? Those what should I do questions, like how much money should I invest? Or, should I go in that's very, very individual. That's a very personal thing. I'm not in the business of answering, of telling people what to do. Right. I'm in the business of just educating people and letting you make your own personal decisions. So as long as your question isn't, hey, Coffee, what should I do? I'll answer it to the best of my ability. But I don't know everything, and I especially don't know what you should do with your money. But I do know a good amount about what's going on in HEX, PulseChain, PulseX. Hey, Dahidi, thank you for the €5. Thank you very much. Really cool, man. Let's say what's up to everybody. Johnny Chaos is in the chat. Mr. G, Wrenchy T, hello. Erwin Jansons. Let's see. We got Shell for Freedom. We've got 100 years. Hello, MT Coiner. Hey, HEX Head. Happy New Year to you too. Jack XY. Win HEX $1. That's one of those questions that's hard to answer, right? But I mean, it seems like it's inevitable sometime this year. Hexakin Greenhorn. What's up, dude? Sir Edward Trichrome. Hello. Bukowski. Hello. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to finish saying hi to everybody. Red Squirrel, what is good? Eduardo, hello. Hex Siren, Greenhorn. We got a bunch of people in the chat. Already got 81, so keep on coming in. Hey, Crypto Kings, what's good, man? Good to see you. Hopefully we can just hang out for a little bit and answer some questions. Is PulseChain laughing with PulseX? I don't know what that means. I don't know if PulseChain's laughing. I mean, Can PulseChain laugh? What does laughing mean in your situation? Hey, Coffee, what should I do? Just be yourself, COTG. Just be yourself. Yeah, guys. Obviously, the chart's dumping. So if you haven't checked it yet, could be a dip buying opportunity, guys. Could be a dip buying opportunity. What's up, Crypto Freedom? Thank you for all your hard work as well. Really appreciate the kind words. Murky says it'll be awesome when HEX passes ETH's market cap. Will cause some viral news, I bet. That's right. Yeah, guys, HEX is dumping. HEX is dumping, and we're just going to talk about it. I mean, it's not really dumping that much. We're at levels that we were at 2 weeks ago. So a lot of people have short-term memory loss in crypto. They forget that, we were literally at these prices 2 weeks ago. And yeah, I'm always... I really overcomplicated the sacrifice phase for PLSX, just like I did for PulseChain. I told myself I wouldn't do it twice, but again, I did, and I just overthought it. The best thing to do last time was get in big, get in early on day one. That was the best possible price you could have gotten in the sacrifice phase, and it seems like it's the same thing this time around too. So anyone that got in day one, congratulations. I got in. I did half my stack somewhere around between day 1 and 2. Can't really remember. And the other half of my bag is kind of screwed the pooch on that one, but we're hoping to get somewhat of a volume bonus with the other half of my stack because I pulled it together with some anonymous people. So hoping to offset my some of the losses in terms of dollar amounts by pooling the other half of my stack. But guys, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are overthinking in this one, just get in and be happy that you're in because, we're splitting hairs, right? When we're talking about if PLSX ever hits $1, the fact that if you got in at 22 cent HEX or 30 cent HEX, I mean, it's going to be irrelevant If you just have a long-term mindset, and I'm sure 6 months to 8 months from now, just like the HEX price, right? Some people got in on HEX on day 30. They got a much better price than the people that got in on HEX on day 1. But all those people are in massive, massive profit after year 1 and year 2. It's all just about holding, guys. Money flows from the hands of the impatient to the hands of the patient. So Dark Knight said it's not overthinking, it's manipulation. Yeah, I put in a clickbait title. I don't know if there's any conspiracy here, guys. I mean, what happened last time was allegedly some whales were selling down the price because what they did was sacrificed and then sold the price down to ensure that they were top holders, basically, and ensure that no other people could get in at a higher price, which is kind of selfish, kind of stupid in my opinion. If I was that big of a whale, I don't think I would even do that. But yeah, it's whale games, or whale games maybe combined with the fact that we're literally at the end of the year, guys. We're at the end of the tax year, and I think a lot of people sell off on early in the tax year, or maybe late in the tax year, just to try to lock in capital gains. So I'm just I'm accumulating PulseX, as best as I can, but I'm not going to play it perfectly, guys. I highly doubt that anyone's going to play it perfectly. Again, congratulations to you if you got in on day 1, but we've got 8 more days of the best possible rate. So as long as you get in on this next 8 days, right, whatever happens to the price, I think we're all going to be very happy. It's after January 10th that the rate starts to spiral away from us, right? It goes up by 5% every day from January 10th for the next 37 days, I believe. So yeah. HEX Head says everybody wants it at the top, but it's just impossible to time the market. Just get in and buckle up. That's right, HEX Head. That's because that's what they say. Time in the market always beats timing the market, right? Time in the market always beats timing the market. You can't beat yourself up. I didn't play this perfectly. I have half my bag that I'm still waiting to go in with, and I just keep watching the price go down, and it hurts. But that's part of a pool. So again, hopefully the volume offsets some of the USD loss for me. But overthinking is an MF. So Jessica says whales are of course driving it down, but Godwhale didn't care. He sacked in mid-20s. Yeah, well, Godwhale also sacrificed Ethereum, right? So he didn't even care about the price of HEX. I figure that guy doesn't want to get rid of any more of his HEX. I mean, he seems to value HEX so highly that he doesn't even want to sacrifice it and take it off the supply. He wants to keep it all. And, things are probably a little different for you when you have tens of thousands of Ethereum, right? I mean, the dude sacrificed 7,777 Ethereum. If you haven't heard yet, guys, that's about, what, $29 or $28 million. So I think he's by far the highest sacrificer so far, until the OA comes in, which I totally expect will happen. And that's another point, guys. Just like last time in the PulseChain sacrifice phase, I'd also expect the origin address, or basically the highest holder in HEX and PulseChain, to also sacrifice and own about 90% of the PulseX tokens as well, the PLSX tokens. So that seems likely to me, and that's just for supply and liquidity control, and just to make better and more efficient markets, to match the demand at the time. So if you just give out all the coins equally to everybody, it just doesn't work. You have tragedy of the commons, right? So that's why you want these large whales at first, to basically be able to nurture the correct environments in terms of liquidity and supply, to match the buy pressure, right? But as it becomes more mature and as time goes on, liquidity, or the coin, gets more distributed over time, right? Because more liquidity has to come in to meet increasing demand, and so on and so forth. So that's why economic centralization isn't a bad thing, because these people with the most to lose typically don't want to shoot themselves in the head and nuke themselves, and they're actually the most incentivized, more so than you or me, to help the project do well. So I do expect the origin address to get in at the end, but he's probably going to wait until he or she is probably going to wait until the end of the sacrifice phase to give a fair chance to anybody that wants to get in early. And the origin address will probably take a worse rate, right, at the expense of himself, basically, in order to not box out any smaller guys that just want a good deal in days 1 through 10. Is that my real background, bro? No, I wish, man. I just want to make my house look nicer. So these are this is my goals for 2022, maybe. Buy more plants. Jessica pointed us 7 more days. Sorry, 7 more days, not 8 more days. Let's see. Happy New Year, Crypto Ewok. Bra says, bro, I have a question. Can you help me understand this? Let's say that $10 billion have been sacrificed. Doesn't that mean the market cap have to go to $20 billion to achieve 2x? Yeah, I think you're thinking of market cap wrong. Market cap is not price. Market cap is not the same as price. All you should care about is the price. People spend way too much focus on market cap, right? So that's actually not true at all. If the market cap is $10 billion, that doesn't mean that $10 billion more dollars have to go into 2x the price. That's not true at all. The price is based on how much supply and demand and liquidity there are, right? So if $10 billion has been sacrificed, that also does not equate to a direct amount of PLSX, right? When you're sacrificing dollars, you're getting sacrificed points, okay? You're only getting sacrificed points. So whatever you sacrifice, you're getting points for that, and those points will equate to 1 PLSX token when it launches. But the price of that token is only based on what other people are willing to buy and sell. Okay, so like this question, I mean, it doesn't really make sense because the market cap and the price are two totally different things, and also the US dollar amount sacrificed does not equate to the actual like tokens, right? And also $10 billion seems pretty far off. I mean, we're probably going to have realistically more like closer to 1 billion, maybe 700 million like we did last time. So, I mean, that puts the price at a low USD rate, theoretically, when PulseX launches, which is a very good thing because it solves the units bias problem. You want lower units of account, basically, in order to give people the mental framework and capacity to think of things as being cheap, right? It's a bias that's not necessarily logical, but it is true. It looks more attractive to buy something at less than a penny than it does when that thing is $14, regardless of how much of the token is in existence. But no, I mean, people conflate price and market cap. They have nothing to really do with each other. I mean, market cap is just the price times circulating supply, but how much of that is actually on markets? How much of that is actually liquid, right? The total supply is not the same thing as the liquid supply. So in order to achieve a 2x, we just need buy pressure on the automated market maker, and it's going to depend on the liquidity. So I think this way of thinking, how do I put this in a good way? You're assuming that all 10 billion of those dollars would automatically be liquid on the market, when in reality, the vast majority, probably 99% of the Pulse coins in existence, PulseX coins in existence, are not going to be open for sale. They're not going to be for sale on the market. On the automated market maker, the only things that's for sale are what people are willing to put up when they provide liquidity. And as we know, like in HEX, for example, there's billions of HEX tokens, right? There's billions of HEX tokens, which makes the market cap go up because of the total amount of tokens. But the total amount of tokens is nowhere near the actual amount of tokens for sale in liquidity, right? There's maybe 1% or less of the total HEX tokens in existence that actually create liquidity on Uniswap and things like that. So that's the best explanation I can do there. But yeah, that is a good thing to clarify for anybody that's newer, right? Got into HEX this week 2 years ago. Unreal. Yeah, happy 2-year anniversary, man. It is very crazy how far we've come, right? I don't see any USDT and BSC blockchain been sacrificed. Why? I don't know. I do remember Richard said something about how USDT was there was like a bug that had to be updated to show USDT. So maybe that's related to that. Hey, we have a very nice tip. Thank you so much, A. In your opinion, is sacrificing a taxable event? Would you be responsible for the gains on a coin you sacked? I mean, in my non-tax opinion, right? I'm not a tax advisor, not a financial advisor, I don't think the sacrificing itself is necessarily a taxable event because you're technically not buying anything, or you're buying a valueless token, right? And really what you're doing when you're sacrificing is making a political statement. And the fact that you get valueless tokens afterwards is just a nice perk, right? But you're going to be responsible for gains when you cash out to dollars, right? That's going to be the primary point where people are cashing out for gains. Okay, or that's going to be the primary point where people are taxed, is when they're cashing out and selling PLSX or any other coin for that matter for USD. Okay, that's what the government really cares about. The whole idea of sacrificing, in my opinion, was designed in order to prevent the act of sacrificing from being a taxable event. So it's a creative way around being a taxable event because you're getting a token worth $0, right? HEX did a 10,000x from the bottom, not from launch. From launch, HEX has done a 425x. Okay, cool. Let's see. Are you bothered by how whales can manipulate price? No, I mean, that's a good question. I take a pretty neutral stance on all this. I think whales are going to do what they're going to do in the short term. But the one thing I do know that makes me feel better about this whole thing is really just because it tends to be that in the long run, people's greed, people are greedy, right? Everybody wants the same thing, but because of everyone's greed, incentives are all aligned. Maybe not short-term incentives, but long-term incentives. So whales still want the price of everything to go up. So whales want what me and you want, right? And the bigger the whale, yeah, they might try to play some little short-term games, but in the long run, I'm fairly confident that they want the price of PLSX to go up just as much as you and I, right? So yeah, while they can manipulate the price short-term, I don't think that they have any interest in suppressing the price longer term. And I think they're just being a little selfish to try to lock in their position early on. And that's, I mean, again, that's the conspiracy theory, right? It could also just be a bunch of people selling because of the feedback loop, right? Maybe a couple whales sold, but a bunch of minnows are selling on top, just because they're scared that the price is going down. Selling creates more selling, just like buying creates more buying. They're reflexive systems, as Richard Hart says. Do you see RH coming up with any quirks that may happen at the last moment? Big brain plays that no one's thought about. Like I said earlier, Murky, the only thing I see the origin address doing is really just sacrificing really large at the very end, letting everybody get the better rates, and then sacrificing at the worst rate day in order to hold about 90% of the supply in order to control and make sure that tragedy of the commons does not happen. Because as we know, centralized economic ownership is not the same as technical centralization at all. We have a very technically decentralized system, but prices of things are most successful when centrally, economically centralized. Whole lot of shitcoins. How can I sacrifice them? Well, Nexon, I don't know. I would be very careful just sacrificing any old shitcoin. I would try to make sure that, PulseX.info and PulseX.com have announced that it is an acceptable coin. I mean, you don't want to do what happened with Hokkaido Inu, right? Someone sacrificed like allegedly billions of dollars worth of that coin. Obviously, you never would be able to sell that much of the coin, but they sacrificed many, many, many billions of potential money of that coin. And then the origin address just sent it right back. Or, the controller of the sacrifice address just sent it right back because it's so useless and he would never be able to even cash that out. So if the coin is just totally silly and there's no liquidity for it, and maybe if it's already rug pulled or something, my guess is no. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to sacrifice that. But if you want to convert those shitcoins into HEX and then sacrifice HEX, I think that might be the ideal play. Or convert them into USDC or convert them into ETH or something larger. I think you can look on PulseX.info and see the coins listed there that are accepted. And you can sacrifice a lot of the bigger DeFi coins, things like Chainlink or Compound or whatever. But if you've got some really obscure coin, I would try to trade that in for a more well-known coin like Ethereum or HEX, before sacrificing, because they might not be accepted. So be careful. No expectations of profits. You sacrifice for freedom of speech and movement. Yes, true. True, you do. This is a political statement. It's about freedom of movement, assembly. I think it's the 4th Amendment. And it's because of all this craziness going on in the world, guys. These mandates and whatnot, which I will not get into because that's not what this channel is about. Silver Sobe says, what will the PulseX price be at launch, and who/what sets it? Really, man, the people that set the price are the people that buy and sell it. So as soon as somebody buys a PLSX coin using another coin, it's going to cost whatever that coin, whatever was used to pay for it. That's going to be the very first price. So expect a lot of volatility when PulseX hits the market, as with every coin, right? Expect a lot of volatility, a lot of unknowns, because I don't think there's going to be any liquid USDC pairs either. Initially, right? So we're going to be trading a lot of derived pairs that it's going to require an additional derivation to get the USD price of a lot of these coins, because what I think is going to happen when PulseX launches and when PulseChain launches is, USDC might not necessarily be honored in its clone form on PulseChain. And it's going to take time for people to bridge in their USDC from Ethereum and create these USDC liquidity pairs. So the main liquidity pairs are going to be all, HEX Pulse pairs or Pulse PLSX pairs or PLSX HEX pairs. And there's going to be a lot of PRC20 tokens trading against each other. And, you have to derive a price for that based on what they cost in USD terms on like the Ethereum network. So it's going to be a little crazy at first, guys. Let's see. Any concern over the PulseX automatic buy and burn function having to be manually implemented at launch? Is this just something that can actually be automated? Well, yeah, good question. So from what I understand, guys, this is a really important point to make. The initial intention for the buy and burn function was to be automated. Sounds great in theory, right? But the problem in reality is that if it is automated, a nefarious actor would know theoretically, like every day, they would know that there's this batch process going on of coins being bought and burned. So they could essentially sandwich attack all of these trades on a daily basis and make a lot of money at the expense of all the PulseX users, right? So if you know there's going to be a big buy order every day, what a bad actor or what an opportunist could do is just buy a bunch of the coin beforehand and sell a bunch of the coin immediately afterwards, right? So to take advantage of knowing that the buy and burn function was automated. And so there's really no good way, right now that we know of, to automate this function. And that's why PancakeSwap has it done manually as well. In the future, I think he'd like to shift it to an automated version with no admin key, but there's trade-offs that need to be made in software, right? Just like with the bridging protocol, there's currently no bridging protocol that you can do without admin keys, right? That's currently true. So same is true with the buy and burn function. So we're going to have to trust that a person buys and burns tokens, and they're actually going to be sent through CowSwap, C-O-W swap, which actually hides a lot of the transaction data from MEV attacks, minor extracted value attacks, like sandwich attacks. So basically, it's now going from an automated process to a manual process in order to ensure that the coins can be bought and burned secretly, basically. Because if you use CowSwap, that actually hides the transaction details from opportunistic actors that could take advantage of knowing the automated process. So again, trade-offs need to be made in software, and this is a trade-off of launching faster to market versus a small admin key risk in the beginning, right? So new code can be forked in and updated when there is a better solution, but as with all software projects, guys, trade-offs must be made. I personally am in favor of getting to market faster, just getting this thing launched already. The Pancake token buy and burn function has been going fine. as far as I know. But again, I'm sure he would like his ideal scenario to be automated. I sacrificed for PulseX, but was too late for PulseChain. How do I get into PulseChain? Well, Fallen Angel, my opinion on this is that some of the most liquid pairs on day one after PulseChain launches is that the most liquid pairs are probably going to be Pulse and HEX, or HEX and EHEX, or HEX and PulseX, or PulseX and Pulse. So you're going to basically have a bunch of PulseX tokens, it sounds like, on day one. And if you don't have any PLS tokens yet, you can essentially trade your PulseX tokens for PLS. Not all of your stack, but maybe some of it, if you want to get into PulseChain. Or if you have HEX and your HEX is liquid and it gets copied over to the PulseChain, well, whenever there's a liquidity pair for HEX PulseX, you can then trade some HEX. Whenever there's a liquidity pair for HEX PLS, you can then trade some HEX for PLS as well. So just make sure you're holding some of these coins that are most likely to be in the liquidity pairs on day one. And if there's a coin you don't have yet, just try to hold some liquid of the coins that you can control. Like right now, you can buy HEX. You can buy HEX and ensure that you get a copy of HEX on day one. Right now, you can sacrifice for PulseX and ensure that you get PulseX on day one. But if you missed out on PulseChain, the only thing left to do is ensure that you have either HEX or PulseX, and then hope that you can trade into some of these liquidity pairs when it launches. So just holding the other coins and waiting for your chance to buy. That's all you can do. Greenhorn. Let's see. Are you worried about there being a lot of holders before it launches? Not at all. The more holders, the better. I think a lot of times we get confirmation bias by like sticking in our chat rooms and thinking that the whole world knows about this, right? I don't even know if we're gonna have a higher sacrificed amount than we did for PulseChain. We might not even reach that 700 million mark. But because it's a longer sacrifice phase, yeah, we'll probably reach that, and maybe even a little bit higher. I don't really think that there being a lot of holders is anything to worry about. We know the smaller holders can't hurt the price as much, and those are the people most likely to sell anyway. So I think the more whales, the better, because we know that whales are long-term holders for the most part, right? And I think we're still thinking too small here. Like, this is a small way of thinking. I mean, a lot of holders relative to the rest of the world is just, I mean, the amount of holders that there's going to be is still so small compared to the people that don't even know about PulseChain at all, and that have never even heard of it. Something like 0.00001% of the world, I think, even owns HEX today, right? So imagine if you can just move that decimal place over a couple times, get 100x or 1000x the users. There's just so much more vastly. There's such a vastly higher number of people that have never heard about this than have heard about this, and the ratio of people that have heard about it to haven't heard about it is so low that's never really been a concern for me. I think you want as many people as possible getting into this, because they're going to essentially be there's a name for this. They're going to be like second derivative shillers, apparently. You could say. So they could be, people that have a good experience with HEX, people that have a good experience with PulseChain and PulseX early on. If they make a lot of gains, they become promoters themselves, right? So you want people in early, because there's going to be much more virality in terms of them telling 100 more people. The people that have glowing testimonials, people like myself, we feel like we need to tell the rest of the world about this, because like, it's so awesome. There's so much opportunity here that, there's enough for everybody. There's enough meat on the bone for everybody for the next 5, 10, 15 years, right? I mean, I really believe that. And the more holders, the better, because like, just the more potential people to promote it in the future. Is the snapshot at PulseChain launch? Richard said in a recent stream that the snapshot was 2 months ago, but I'm assuming that was just for testnet. Yeah, the word snapshot can be confusing. I sometimes use it incorrectly. And I think other people use it incorrectly sometimes too. Snapshot for the testnet is just like saying that the testnet starts from a particular block height on the Ethereum chain, so that you can load it faster or something like that. The PulseChain launch date is essentially the fork date. It's technically not a snapshot date, right? There's no snapshot being taken. But whatever block PulseChain forks at is the exact time and day that you'll need to be holding those coins in your wallet, right? So the term snapshot, it's tricky, right? It's like I don't even really like the term anymore, but just know that snapshot is used in terms of testnet by Richard Hart, but some people also I guess incorrectly attribute the word snapshot to the PulseChain launch date as well. Yeah, it's confusing. Just know that sometimes people, when they say snapshot, they really just mean PulseChain launch date, aka PulseChain fork date, aka the exact block in which things are forked that you have to be holding your tokens for. A lot of folks are talking about using the PulseX to get the pulse, but I do believe no one will give up pulse that easy unless they get a ton. Just to get a little is my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some people that want to get PulseX, I'm sure, and there's going to be some people that want to get Pulse. So I think there's going to be traders on both sides. Yeah, I'm starting to think the same way as you, though. I think in terms of what's going to outperform PLS or PLSX, I think a lot of people might be more interested in holding their PLS. But I mean, that said, once volume kicks up on PLSX, it's going to look a lot more attractive to be holding PLSX. So I guess it's the old adage, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy, right? If everyone wants to buy up PLS and poor little PLSX is taking a dip, well, the best thing to do is actually to buy the PLSX then, right? Because in the future, all the hype is going to kick up and the volume is going to increase the price of PLSX. And you don't want to be buying the tops, right? You want to buy the bottoms and sell the tops. If you don't want to sacrifice, after everything launches, you can buy HEX and stake it, buy Pulse and delegate it, buy PLSX and hold it. That's true, Wake Dog. Very, very true. Oh my God, I'm so behind on these comments. Hey, Cal, thank you for the tip, man. Really appreciate that. Hey, Coffee, kindly explain in detail how exactly the ratio bot buys up the PRC20s and adds them to PLS pairs and how the bot mints the necessary PLS. Yeah, this is a tricky thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you a great explanation of it, but basically one time early on, before trading begins, there's going to be a ratio bot to fix the ratios on the automated market maker. This is due to the fact that there's 10,000x more PLS tokens than Ethereum tokens. So the ratios are going to be very lopsided when they launch and when PulseX launches. So there's going to be a bot that buys up all the PRC20s and spends a lot of Pulse in order to buy up the PRC20s. How that bot mints the necessary PLS is not really, I don't know if it's minting that PLS, right? I think it's just going ahead and doing a purchase because of the fact that I don't think it's minting any PLS. Like what I have understood is that due to the fact that every Ethereum is basically going to be 10,000x. I don't know. I don't know how the bot's going to mint it. I mean, it could just be funded from the origin address, right? That's part of the reason that the OA owns 90% of PLS, right? So I would assume it's not going to be minted like new coins, but it's just going to be coins that already exist that are just being used for this bot. But no, I haven't seen the code for the ratio bot yet, so I will let you know when I know more. Sorry, I can't answer that better, dude. I don't believe the OGs are doing it. You mean dumping the price? Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not dumping, but everyone's different, right? And if people are dumping, it is what it is, I wouldn't never want to sell on a dip like this either, personally. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Hey, Coffee, do you think every token on Uniswap Sushi will be taken to PulseX? Thinking about a token that doesn't have much volume, but it's legit. Yeah, well, sir, literally every token is going to be copied. So if there's a token that doesn't have much volume, it's still going to be copied. I don't know if the ratio bot is going to forget about that. I know it's going to go after the major coins. So I'm not sure if your coin doesn't have much volume, it might be overlooked by the ratio bot. But if you really believe in it, I mean, you're free to go do whatever you want because it's still going to be copied. So yeah, every token is going to be copied on Uniswap. That is, I don't know about Sushi. I don't know if Sushi. No, I'm pretty sure Sushi as well. The ratio bot's going to go fix Sushi Swap pools as well. There might not be a front end for Sushi Swap on day one, guys, because Sushi Swap would then have to do that themselves, right? They would have to, on their front end, change, allow people to see PulseChain pairs. So the one thing you can bet on for sure is that Uniswap will have a clone on PulseChain. And the new Uniswap is going to be called PulseX, right? The name is changing. The code is exactly the same. But again, Sushi Swap, they would have to put their own front end code in to allow people to use it. Unless you're a real hacker and you want to go on like the command line and use Sushi Swap that way. But yeah, that's probably hard. What? Oh, that's not to me. Let's see. Questions in the chat. Question, did I say there's a computing issue with USDC or USDT? I think I only heard something that Richard mentioned that USDT wasn't showing up right on the PulseX.info website. I'm not sure if that's been fixed or not. Let's go take a look. PulseX.com. Let's see, USDT. USDT is showing up now. So I think maybe the issue's been fixed. Maybe he was referring to USDT on a different blockchain. Yeah. I don't know. Everything seems fine in terms of USDT right now. Happy New Year, Huddle Dog. Good to see you in the chat, bro. Hey, Cal says, thanks for the answer. If you can go to pulsechain.com and scroll down to just before the testimonials, it says the bot will mint 2.5%. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, then this is, first of all, thanks for the tip again. Second of all, I forgot about this part where the bot will mint 2.5% of the PulseChain supply just for the bot. So I think 2.5% of the supply should be more than enough to go in and fix everything, just due to the fact that there's so many trillions of PulseChain token out there. So yeah, I guess 2.5% of the supply will be used for that bot. You heard it here. Thanks to Cal5555. Let's see. You can't stake PLSX, right? Just for liquidity providing. Yeah, it's not even for liquidity providing. It's just for the number to go up. It's just yeah, you're correct. You can't stake it, and you don't earn it for providing liquidity. You just buy it, and the price goes up based on the volume of the on the exchange. For the buy and burn function. Also, it lets you participate in a DAO that makes decisions on who to give another token to. And that token is the liquidity providing rewards token. So it's for holding, it's for number go up, it's for if you want to invest on the success of PulseX as a platform, essentially, because the more successful the platform is, the more people are trading on it, the more the price goes up. And it's also for voting on who gets a different token. So we can vote to reward, certain liquidity pairs more or less by holding PulseX token. Can be confusing, all these words. Can I connect my hardware wallet somehow for the airdrop? You have to have, yeah, if you don't have a hardware wallet set up already, you can go to howtopulse.com. That's howtopulse.com. They have a couple of good articles about how to connect a hardware wallet to an existing MetaMask account. Or if you're starting a MetaMask account from scratch, just make sure you select the hardware wallet setup route. There should be a big box that just says, I have a hardware wallet. Make sure you click on it. Make sure you select whether or not you have a Trezor or a Ledger. And that can set up the hardware wallet with a new wallet. However, if you have an existing wallet that doesn't have a hardware wallet attached to it yet, there is a way to do this. And I'm not an expert in that way because I always do it from scratch. But if you want to basically overlay a hardware wallet onto an existing wallet, I think there's some good tutorials in both t.me hex security, t.me/hex security, or howtopulse.com. Be careful with that. Customer support for hardware wallets can be tricky. It can take some technical know-how to use a hardware wallet. So just keep your private keys safe. But if you do have the time and skills and attention to spend for a hardware wallet, I think it's definitely a good idea. But I mean, I don't know about connecting it for the airdrop. The airdrop is literally just holding coins in your wallet. You don't need to do anything. So I'm not really sure what you're asking there. If whales are dumping, surely that's bad for them. The more hex sacrifice, the better for everyone, as it means a higher potential liquidity and volume for PulseChain. Well, we can assume that the hex sacrifice is being taken off the market. So I don't know about that. I don't know that that means higher liquidity and higher volume. I'm not sure if I understand this question. Sorry, man. I don't really understand that. Which one do you think will perform better, PulseChain or PulseX? Again, Alex Sutton, I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm just going to take a wild ass guess here. I'm going to say PulseChain because I guess PulseChain is the network token. If we look at Ethereum, which one did better, Ethereum or Uniswap? Well, it's not a great comparison, right? Because Uniswap came a long time after Ethereum was around. But you know what, guys? I am going to go look up the Uniswap Ethereum pair. And I will tell you what I think based on that. All right, let's go look at this on a weekly chart. Okay, it looks like the Uni to ETH pair has had a big pump in March, and then it's been slowly going down ever since, right? So it looks like that means that Ethereum is outperforming Uniswap in the recent months. Yeah, I mean that would mean that ETH is going up compared to Uniswap. So I guess that confirms my bias, right? Or not my bias. That confirms my guess. Let me show you guys this. This is what the Uni ETH chart looks like, right? So I don't know. Based on this, again, we could obviously have volatility, right? But the Uni ETH chart might look a little bit like the PulseX Pulse chart. You know what I mean? That's the best I can do in terms of a guess because, I mean, that's pretty much the only similar data we have in recent history. So, yeah, you could see in the past, how many months? Ever since March, Ethereum has been winning against Uni. So, but there was a time from January, last January to March, there were a good 2 months there where Uni was outperforming Ethereum. So again, volatility, guys, in the long run, I have a hunch that PulseChain will prevail in terms of performance. It's just such a hard question, you know what I mean? It's a tough one. What are your thoughts as we head into a bear market for crypto? These are my thoughts. I think we want to be holding coins that are decorrelated from Bitcoin and Ethereum. Luckily, what I love about PulseChain is that it's literally like the definition of decorrelation. We're building our own infrastructure. We're building our own layer 1 copy of Ethereum from scratch. We have HEX, which is the premier store of value, automatically launching on top of that. And we have PulseX, which is a nice little add-on to copy another successful feature from Uniswap, right? The Uni token. or the sushi token or the cake token or whatever. So as we head into a bear market, which I do believe in late of 2022, we might head into a more macro level bear market. And there might, we might see selling off of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm still going to want to be holding PulseChain, HEX, PulseX. I might, I don't know. I'm going to want to work towards the decoupling of these coins from the greater crypto market. I mean, I think these coins should be accessible to everybody. I think with apps like Staker app, with things like the HEX version of Grayscale, the hedge fund, and things like fiat on-ramps, those three things in my mind are going to help us decouple from the greater bear market, because nobody's focusing on these things. You know what I mean? A lot of people are so caught up in their NFTs or whatever niche DeFi function that their cryptocurrency has, but they don't realize that when it comes to price, a lot of these coins are still tied directly to Ethereum or directly to Bitcoin. Like NFTs are all priced in Ethereum, right? That is very, very dangerous for a reflexive market. When the ETH starts selling off, I think Richard Hart's right, and NFTs are going to go down even faster and harder. Other DeFi coins, yeah, they might be building cool stuff, but they a lot of times haven't been paying attention to the pumpamentals, for lack of a better word, right? For liquidity dynamics and price dynamics and supply and demand. They're not generating new demand because they're priced out by, they're whale games because the gas fees are so high in Ethereum. A lot of these compound finance and stuff like this are just big whale party circle jerks, and they're primarily traded in terms of Ethereum too. So again, I just think that we need to insulate ourselves from the bear market. The better job we can do as a community of insulating ourselves, the more protected we'll be, and the less blood we're going to have to endure as Ethereum and Bitcoin kind of take a dump and blow off some steam. But I don't know, as long as the government keeps printing money, I have no idea how long we can run with this bull market. And guys, we're in a bull market right now. Currently, it's just been a very, very extended one. And so I think later in 2022, we might revisit this topic and talk about what's happening at that point. But hey, guys, it's January 2nd. So enjoy the new year. Enjoy the buzz of everything going on. Enjoy all the new stuff. But it's a good point to bring up, guys. Bear markets come. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Bear market is the best time to launch new products. Yes, this is true. PulseChain launching in a bull market is unique. And again, we just have to hope that we can decouple from the crypto narrative, right? If we can make the Robinhood, if Staker app becomes the Robinhood of crypto, and it's so easy for people to buy it that they don't even have to get MetaMask and all this crap and jump through 30 different hoops, then we can go more mainstream. Like, we don't want to be associated with the rest of crypto, right? That's my opinion. We don't want. I mean, crypto has generally terrible user experience across the board, and that's the number one thing stopping people from getting in. That's the number one inhibitor, is just terrible UX, guys. Nobody wants to learn about what MetaMask is or how to secure their private keys. Nobody wants to even copy and paste a long string of numbers and letters, because that looks scary. Like, what is that? It's not like an email address. It's like random numbers and letters. Like, am I copying the right thing? Am I sending it to the right person? There's scams everywhere. Like, we need to really create an environment where people don't even realize they're using crypto. They just should look at this like a financial application and a new digital asset. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I think PulseChain should outperform PulseX in the long run as more developers develop on it. Yeah, that's true. The PulseChain price scales with network effects, whereas the PulseX price scales with adoption of PulseX. Given that PulseX is just one application out of many that can be built on PulseChain, I do agree, Brissology, that the room for growth on PulseChain on a multi-year time frame, I think, is higher than the potential for growth of PulseX, although potential is very, very high on both. All right, I am so far behind in chat, guys. Oh, let's see. What gives the PulseX incentive token value? Want to just be sold for HEX, PLS, PulseX, etc.? Yes. Very good point, i.e. 24878. Yeah, I don't think that the PulseX token will have much inherent value other than being a shiny new object and people trade people trade Dogecoin, guys. I mean, just because it exists and because a billionaire tweeted about it. So the PulseX incentive token, not PulseX, guys. He's not talking about PulseX. He's talking about the incentive token that is the name TBD, to be determined. I am just as curious as you. I don't think it will. Although I don't want to underestimate Richard Hart. You know, he's probably got some cards up his sleeve for how to put some pumpamentals on this token. But what I've seen in the past, like with QuickSwap token, for example, or with Uni token, like, yeah, they're good tokens that you can get. I mean, and people trade them and people buy them just because they exist. But I don't see any long-term fundamentals driving the price up on this token, especially after a bear market, right? Like I would be more bullish on HEX PLSX, and then I would put this incentive token last, you know, in terms of my priorities. But again, it's just a shiny object to help liquidity locusts basically go to create the best optimal liquidity environments for the bags that we all want to pump, right? So I don't know, like Cake Token tried some stuff to give their Cake Token value. They tried like a lottery. They tried staking. I guess you could slap staking on this incentive token. You could slap a lot of things on there and just duct tape some functionality onto it. I don't know, man. I'm kind of thinking what you're thinking. I think like I don't know that it's going to be that attractive to hold. You know, I might just use it as like a yield farming tool to get it and sell it. I don't know, man. Hey, AJ Create, Happy New Year to you too. Well, Steve says, what will happen to the buyers of these NFTs off these NFTs start saying, I also want the copy on PulseChain network? Oh, what will happen when the buyers of these NFTs start saying that they also want the copy on the PulseChain network? I don't know. I mean, they're going to get a copy either way. And I know of some projects being done to give a front end, right? Like a visual front end to host all their JPEGs, right? Because you still need centralized middlemen to host your JPEG so you can look at it. It's one of many silly things about NFTs. But if you have an NFT and you want to look at it on the PulseChain, you want to sell it on the PulseChain, it's going to have a different price, right? And it might actually lower the price of these NFTs because you're making them less scarce, right? Now you've got two versions of it. Or who knows, you might be able to make some money off your PulseChain version of your NFT if there's somebody silly enough to buy it. And you might just be able to make a little bit of extra money on your NFTs if you can create demand for it, right? But these NFTs are, you know, the trading volume is like very, very low because there's very few of these tokens, and it's like trading art, right? It's like, I don't know much about NFTs, but if you can create artificial demand for your NFT on PulseChain, maybe you can make a little extra money on it. Everyone's going to get a copy of their NFTs anyway. I don't know, man. It's a tough thing to really guess. Maybe artificial demand will be created to scam people into buying the copied NFTs. Maybe people will actually want the NFTs, and I'm just wrong about NFTs, and they're totally awesome. And pictures of monkeys are the future. Or maybe nobody wants them and they just forget about them, and maybe they have no value or near zero value. Could be any one of those things. Jerry Oaksmith says, I didn't like you at first, but you're growing on me. Thanks for the backhanded compliment, Jerry. Crypto Journeyman said, nobody said EHEX will have the same price as PHEX. Yeah, I don't think it will at first. I hope that they eventually do equalize and via arbitrage. I hope people value them both highly and the same. All I know is that by providing liquidity on the HEX EHEX pair, that we can peg the prices more closely to each other. So even if they have different prices, the more liquidity is in that pair, the more they will go up and down by the same amount together, right? So I hope I've never said that they'd have the exact same price, but I do think that hopefully they can reach price parity one day. Mm-hmm. Casca says, so wait, the buy and burn isn't automated. As of now, again, Casca, the choice is to save time and speed to market by having a manual buy and burn function, just like PancakeSwap has successfully had for about 2 years now, maybe a year and a half or something. Hey, thank you for the tip, Alan Phils, Aim. Love moon math as much as the next person, but if you hold HEX, EHEX, PLSX, you'll be fine. Win crypto tea. Hey, man. I thank you for the tip. I have been drinking a lot more tea lately. Coffee gives me anxiety sometimes, man. Got to watch out for it. It's sneaky. Also, the thing about coffee is that it makes you feel like you're awake, but you can actually still be really tired and just not realize it. Let's see. The holders of PLSX will get the incentive token. No, Java. The people that provide liquidity will get the incentive token. The holders of PLSX will be able to vote on which liquidity pools to reward, right? So if you are a holder of PLSX, you'll be able to have a say in, I want the HEX EHEX pool to earn a lot of incentive token. But no, you won't get the incentive token just by holding PLSX. You'll get the incentive token by actually providing the liquidity. Any thoughts on current HEX price and PulseX sacrifice stage during the dip? Yeah, well, buying the dip seems like a great idea. Look what happened to the price after the sacrifice phase was over for PulseChain. We skyrocketed. I kind of can't wait till these 10 days are over, because then we won't have any whale games anymore. We'll have more natural demand. And then, if there's no sacrifice phases open anymore, people are probably going to want to buy HEX in order to be able to prepare themselves for the PulseChain launch. Linux Master said, why is everyone freaking out? I don't know, Linux, probably because they always freak out. That's just what people do, especially in crypto. Yeah, it's best to just kind of chill and let the cards fall where they may. But why are people freaking out today? I don't know. I can't keep up with it. If I tried to tune in to why people were so emotional every day, my mental health would not be so great. Let's see. I made lots of money of ETH and NFTs. Well, good for you, Linux Master. I do not know how to do that, but I'm sure there's a way. There's probably also a lot of ways to lose money in NFTs too, so be careful. Hexter Bag said PLSX will have the least amount of slippage, though. Other dexes may not be able to compete. Yeah, there probably will be other dexes trying to compete, but just like Uniswap was the first to market with the best feature set, PulseX is copying all those features that we know have been successful. There's been a precedent set for it, and it's going to have the most volume because it's going to copy all the pairs, and there's going to be so much attention focused on PLSX. Although there will be other dexes, this is a good point. It's going to be really, really, really hard, in my opinion, to beat the PulseX.com platform. Hey, thank you for the tip, Borislava. 2 questions. Is there a plus to sacrificing HEX versus another ERC20 token? Is there a plus to sacrificing HEX? Well, if you think that the price of HEX will go up, or if you already have HEX and you don't want to sell your HEX for a different coin, then yeah, you should probably sacrifice HEX. Now, is there a plus to doing this versus any other ERC20 token? It just depends, right? Like, it depends because your sacrifice is going to be based on the US dollar value of whatever you send at the time you sent it. So we're going to be keeping track of the price of whatever you sent at the exact time you sent it, and you're going to be credited for PulseX that way. So you can sacrifice whatever token you want. But again, if you have a lot of an ERC token, right, and you want the price of HEX to go up, maybe you could buy up the price of HEX so the HEX price goes up. And then if the HEX price goes up and you're able to, pump it up a little bit, then you have theoretically a little bit of a higher USD value to then sacrifice. Now, it doesn't always play out like that in reality. After day one, we've obviously seen big sellers suppressing the price. So really it's whatever you want to do. And then second question, would staked HEX be mirrored? The answer is yes. Staked HEX is also mirrored. You get a copy of all your stakes when PulseChain goes live. Brazology, I used to like Crypto Coffee. I still do, but I used to too. Good reference, man. What comedian was that? Is that who's that guy? He wore sunglasses. Mitch Hedberg? Is that Mitch Hedberg? Love Mitch Hedberg. So the buy and burn will be done by a dev every day. Well, we don't know that, Naiho. It'll probably be done by a dev or somebody, and it's going to be done in secret. So maybe not every day, but frequently, but also secretly, because they don't want to. You don't want people knowing when there's going to be a big buy pressure coming in. All right, guys, I'm at an hour. So thank you all for tuning in today. We've got 500 people watching. Chris says, LOL, I'm drunk. Lol. Cool, man. Zula made a great point. HEX has dumped way worse many times. I've been desensitized to it. That's right. After you can hold through your first dump, I think you do become desensitized to it. You really need patience. And anyone that's been holding HEX for longer than 6 months is probably very happy. So don't mind a little bit of a dip, guys, especially right now. There's so much hype around everything that this looks like more of a buying opportunity to me than anything else. So yeah, guys, have a great new year. Happy 2022. It's Sunday. Go enjoy the time with your friends and family, loved ones. Oh, really important question. What should 626 eat for dinner? Your name is 626 Taco. So how about tacos, bro? Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for giving me something to do, giving me something to talk about. Let's all get some mad gains together. See you on the next video.